As we know, the wonderful world of Disney is all about the magic. But today we're not focusing on the magic, we're focusing on the villains.
But we do want to have a bit of magic on the show. And to bring the magic to the show, we had to bring in a YouTube megastar. Joining us today is Seamus Gorman.
Hi, I'm Seamus.
Hey, screeners, how you doing? It's me, the one AJ, Anthony Jordan.
And me, Nico Lero. And as I mentioned at the top, we're a party of three today because we are also joined by...
Seamus Gorman. I am a YouTuber. I mostly make like movie deep dive videos, I guess, online. That's like what I'd like to classify it as. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure having you on. This is something we've been planning for a few weeks. You were actually someone I reached out to before we relaunched our channel. So it's been in the work for a few weeks / months. 2 months now we've been running. Yeah,
I'd
so
say
it's
about
really
2 months.
Yeah, it's really cool to finally have you here. I think you've become known for more than anything for your crazy Pixar knowledge, right?
Pixar theories would have been what I definitely started doing. I've gone through things that I've like very much delved into Disney over the last specifically 4 years, I'd say. Did like a lot of stuff on Disney sequels. I've seen all those straight to DVD sequels from like the 90s, 2000s essentially. And there's a lot of them. Good fun to watch if you are doing it for punishing yourself reasons, but otherwise and then I try to now like do big projects like deep dives, little Disney Channel stuff. So I know my Disney, I'd say.
You put yourself through the whole of Hannah Montana, didn't you? I saw that on your channel.
That was fun. That was all right. You know, that was an experience for sure. I definitely want to do stuff like that more as well. So, but there's no Disney Channel show that's quite, in my opinion, as iconic as Hannah Montana. But you know, we'll see if we find someone else.
Yeah, and you've, I mean, Pixar, I think, is what we originally spoke about. And when we do a top 10 Pixar revisit later in the year, or maybe next year, we'll definitely try and get you on for that because you are literally an authority on Pixar. So much so, I mean, you've got the Toy Story, you got the Toy Story pick down on your left, but so much so, you've got a party trick that I want you to show AJ. Go ahead and tell him what it is and then do it.
Okay, so I believe I can name all of the Pixar movies in order in under 30 seconds. I say I believe I can do it. I know I can. I'm actually, I think part of the challenge for me is even getting it under 20 seconds now, because I did it for the directors of Elemental, their most recent movie, the other day, about 2 months ago, I'd say, when Elemental was coming out. And I did it in about 21 seconds with them, and I stuttered in points as well. So I thought, if you don't mind, I'm going to get a stopwatch out and try and
great minds.
Oh, you've got this. Oh, okay. You go for the stopwatch. You tell me when to start, and I'll go. No distractions.
You ready to do it?
I'm ready.
All right. And film family, get your timers out too, so you know I'm not BSing you here. Seamus, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Toy Story: A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, Brave, Monsters University, Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory, Coco, Cars 3, Coco, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Onward Soul, Luca, Turning Red, Lightyear, Elemental. That's it. Yeah, I did it in under 20.
That was 19. It was you stopped it late. That was 19, I believe. Wow.
Yeah, I started again. I got one in there. I got put Coco in too early, so
I respect the correction. I respect the fact that you corrected yourself, because I'm sure there are many of some people may have like.
They came out in the same year as well, Coco and Cars 3. So it was a June release and a November release. So easy one to mess up.
Wow. Well done.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely impressed.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What upcoming Pixar movie are you most looking forward to?
See, it's a hard question, because I am a firm believer with Pixar movies that like the originals, that they're the ones everyone wants, right? Like nothing hits better than like an original Pixar movie, especially when you look back at like early 2000s, or even just the whole 2000s to like before 2010s, their movies, they were just doing original after original, like Incredibles, Ratatouille, Up, WALL-E. Those are the movies you've got to be excited for. And it's very hard to know which of those movies is going to be good on the outset. Because like, I think if you look at Up before, like you saw the movie, you're not expecting that to be a absolute classic and masterpiece of a movie. So,
and it is
like, oh, it fully is, yeah. So I would say anything that Pete Docter, the like head of Pixar, is next working on would be an exciting one. But I think his next movie might be Inside Out 2. So I don't really know, but I'm excited to see what they come up with, I guess.
Yeah, Inside Out 2 is going to be an interesting one. That's Catch Me on the Right Day, and I often say that Inside Out's my favorite Pixar movie. How they're going to do a sequel, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
It does feel like a universe that has room to work around, but it just also feels like such a good movie on its own that, like, do you want to tarnish something like that with a sequel that isn't as good,
Say it, AJ. Say it. I know you're dying to say it, AJ. Say what you want to say.
No, I'm torn as well because it feels like such a standard. Inside Out was so unique in terms of its delivery. You're talking about your inner emotion, and then you're thinking, are we looking at the same character but from an older point of view? And how does that work? Are the emotions meant to it feels so standalone, but there is space, and I've learned to trust Pixar enough that I'm hopeful it's great, but I'm scared at the same time.
I'm in the same boat. I'm in the exact same boat. I'm nervous that some of the main cast haven't come back as well. I believe Amy Fowler's coming back. It's Amy Poehler. I always get her name wrong. It's some of the like Gene Wilder maybe isn't coming back. There's someone that's not coming back. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like either people playing Sadness and Anger or something aren't coming back or something. Maybe Mindy Kaling isn't coming back. I'm not sure. And I can't be quoted on this, but I believe that some of the main cast aren't coming back for the second one, which is like, what are they going to do there? They're going to recast them, presumably. And that makes it messy.
The voices are so unique as well.
Exactly.
Not having Phyllis Smith the Sadness seems like just almost
that really might be one of them, but I'm not sure. I think there's two not coming back, so I'm not 100% sure who it is though.
Listen, they've got announced Toy Story 5. As long as they can make it better than Toy Story 4, it can't. They need to recover.
Toy Story 5 is another interesting one because I have no idea where they can go with it at this stage. I saw like a pitch for it online where it was like they make a movie where like way in the future, and Andy's on his deathbed, and Woody just like in the final scene of the movie just tells him he was alive this whole time, and they share a moment together at the end. And I was like, yeah, I'm sold if they make that, but I can't see him doing that.
I love everything about that, but considering what they did in Toy Story 4, which is split them all up and basically bastardize what they did in Toy Story 3. It's like, you had the perfect ending. Why?
See, I'm a really big fan of Toy Story 4. I think it's a really good movie. Yeah, I think it might be my favorite of all of them, to be honest. So yeah.
Oh wow! Why? What? To go as far as to say favorite as well. What would be your? What's your takeaway from Toy Story 4?
It feels like this. Well, firstly, I think the movie's like really beautiful in the sense of just how it's made, and like it's like it looks like real cameras are shooting a movie that's animated. I think that's firstly incredible. But like, I don't know, it's one of those things where I watched Toy Story 3 and I kind of get in this headset space of like, yeah, how can they follow this up? Like this is such a fantastic ending. And I sit and watch the start. Like they have like that opening moment of Toy Story 4 where they show Bo Peep getting given away. And there's just like that opening moment, and you realize like this whole story of like Woody and Bo Peep that is yet to be told. And I think I really like how it explores it. I haven't actually watched it in a while, but just anytime I watch it, I'm sat there in awe with it. I think I find it funnier than the other ones as well. I really like Ducky and Bunny's characters that are introduced. And I find it so emotional at the end when Woody and Buzz go in their separate ways, and like Woody's like, he's not lost, not anymore. I don't know. There's something about it for me that just.
This is why it is so important to get guests on the show, to get an alternative perspective. Seamus, honestly, hand over heart, AJ and I are the biggest trashers of that movie.
Oh, really?
We hate it, mate. Hate it.
Oh, okay.
But it's awesome, genuinely awesome hearing such a contrasting point of view on this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I always found as well with Toy Story 4 is like there was the take that like this movie shouldn't exist long before it ever came out. So it's kind of like it's very easy to go into a movie kind of like not wanting it, so therefore immediately not expecting to like it, and therefore it's going to tarnish your view. But I don't know. It's a movie I liked from the first time I watched it, and
Damn, dude. Listen, based on that, we're going to have to get you back for the Pixar Revisited episode because I am fascinated to see
when
what
that lands number one on my Pixar list.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
But look, that was amazing to hear. But we are here to talk Disney villains. So AJ, shall we?
Indeed. But before we start, would you like to tell everybody what the movie Mount Rushmore is all about?
Yes, prefaced by AJ. No poll this week, so you can do the yarn at the end, but I don't have a poll. I messed up. Here's how the show works. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. Whenever we have a guest on the Movie Mount Rushmore podcast, here's how the show works. AJ and I, off screen, have combined our top 10 lists because 3 top 10 lists in one show is just too long. So you get the combined list from myself and AJ and Seamus's top 10 list. This is how it works. On a guest episode, our guests always go first, delivering their bottom 3 movies, one after the other. We will then deliver our bottom 3 movies. The guest will then deliver their next 2. We will deliver our next 2. And when we get to our top 5, we will trade one apiece. If at any time while we are rounding off our individual top 10 lists, one person has a movie in a higher position, that person will say,
punt.
And we will punt and talk about that movie when we get to the higher position. Once we have all rounded off our individual top 10 lists, we will create the Movie Mount Rushmore. These are the 4 quintessential, diverse, must-see movies of this genre, which this week is...
Top 10 Disney villains with special guest, Seamus Gorman.
Yes. So, Seamus, basically, if anything in the relevant brackets, so if it's bottom 3, if we name a movie that you've got higher than that...
Yeah.
Punters.
Say punt.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, Seamus, the floor is yours. And no, that's not correct. And I'm gonna make you go big screen.
Oh, here we go. Wow. Okay. So I got to list my bottom 3 Disney villains.
One after the other.
Well,
Talk about.
I say bottom 3 feels harsh. These are still the top 10. The bottom 3 of the top 10. All of these villains are fantastic, and I feel like some of them I put really low just because there are other villains I prefer, but other people have them top of the list. But so I've got Yzma at number 10.
Wait, one at a time. Start with Yzma. There we go. Talk to me about Yzma.
Number 10. I love Emperor's New Groove as a movie, and I think Yzma's just it's not like that scarier villain, I guess, compared to some of the other ones on the list, but just a funny villain. And this is kind of like a one that it's in that period of Disney movies that isn't seen as like the best maybe by many, but that this was the movie in that era that really stands out to me. And I think Yzma's a really fun villain in the like Disney realm. Then can we move on to number 9?
I mean, you're gonna have to allow me to say I've actually never seen Emperor's New Groove.
Oh well.
Talk to me.
It's okay. Emperor's New Groove is not what you would expect if you've never seen it before.
It's sadly true.
So it's just like this from like that. I want to say it's about the year 2000. It might be a little bit. It's like post Renaissance, but before like the more modern movies that came along in the later years. And it's just like this movie that felt like it was meant to be serious at one point and then just stopped taking itself seriously, and it's completely self-aware, really funny, and it's genuinely. I would highly recommend you guys watch it if you haven't seen it. It's a very fun movie. If you want a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, and Yzma is the villain in that movie,
and it's
constantly
the Mayans, the Aztecs. What are we talking?
So it's about an emperor who gets turned into a llama and he's like the classic, I don't even know where this trope's from out, but like he's like the classic bad guy that becomes good by the end of the movie. Sort of like it's about him learning to be nice, I guess, sort of thing. And Yzma is the one who is like usurping him for the throne. And but the whole movie's Yzma chasing the llama around the empire or wherever the country it's based in, which I think is fictional, but I might be wrong in thinking that. And yeah, and then but it's very self-aware. They break the fourth wall loads, and I think it's a really fun movie. And Yzma's a great villain, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one that I'm gonna have to check out then. So, what is your number 9?
Number 9, I'm almost certain I'm going to get punted on this, but it's Scar.
Oh, Scar, yes, mate. That is a punt. That is a punt and a half. That
yeah, I assume that's going to be number 1 in some lists. But I don't know. I think there are some types of villains that I prefer, but we'll get into that in a bit. Number 8.
Yes.
Maleficent.
Oh, Seamus, I wanted you to talk, but I'm gonna have to punt you again, my man.
I was assuming that would also be a punt. I'm not surprised that Maleficent and Scar are both punts. They're both low on the list, but yeah.
So we've lost AJ for some reason.
Yes, I was just thinking that.
That's also fine. He can come back in a moment. So here. The number 10 pick that we have is actually his pick. So I'm going to go straight to our number 9 again. Let me know if we need to punt. But my number 9 from Hercules is the amazing Hades.
That's a punt.
Oh, and I'm being punted now. Love it. All right. And number 8. That would be the evil queen from Snow White. No pun?
This isn't a pun. I can't believe I really was trying to work out how to put in the list because they have so many good, like, you know, like they're evil female villains. And
yes.
For some reason, and she's like the first one. I couldn't get her in.
It's on the basis that she was the first one. That I mean, it's not only on that basis. It's on the basis that she's the first one. It's on the basis that she's one of the very, very few villains in Disney who actually kill the protagonist.
Yes.
Not many of them successfully. Like there's not a lot of movies where the protagonists die, and even fewer where they actually stay dead. But we'll talk about that in a bit. But the evil queen, just because I think it's also appropriate to say that I'm sure you've heard of all the furor online surrounding Rachel Zegler and the Snow White madness that's happening, right?
Yes.
I took it upon myself to rewatch Snow White and the Seven Dwarves just while this was all going on, because I'm like, hang on, how bad has this aged? Is this really as bad as everyone's saying? Dude, I was smiling from ear to ear.
I kind of agree with you there. I watched it. I've watched it this year for sure. Probably back in January, and it's the fact that they made that in the 30s, but it's before World War II. Like,
easy.
Absolutely crazy.
It's crazy. And, you know, there's all of the things which I think they're poking fun at, you know, the fact that she doesn't stand on her own 2 feet, the fact that she's dependent on the prince. I mean, call me crazy, but, you know, if I was to die and some stranger could bring me back to life with a kiss, like I need to clearly put that in my will, because it's like, yes, permission granted.
for sure. And it's based on the old fairy tale, which is always going to have aged badly. And I'm sure that was aged badly when the movie came out in the 30s, you know.
Sure.
Like, so yeah,
I mean,
maybe there are aspects.
It's even like nastier than the actual Disney animation. But sure, yeah, look, the fact that she kills the protagonist, the fact that she I mean, bring up the image again. Just look, she really is. They've modeled just evil. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be other female villains we're going to talk about, but they've modeled so many of the female villains off of her aesthetic. So the iconicity behind the evil queen is crazy.
Absolutely.
Don't know what's happened. Two-man show for now. Let me bring you back on and give me your number 7.
Okay, number 7. I have Hades.
Yes, good.
Is this going to be another punt, or is he still? No. Is this where he's landed? Okay.
Hades was my 9. Was our 9. So you're good.
Is your 9? Oh, is your list joint? Sorry, I must have. Yes. Okay.
Shoot.
Well, yes, Hades. I find the like really campy Disney villains to be just like they're all so great when they're like, because like, they have like a really good song and stuff when they're like that. And Hades at 7 feels really harsh as well. But like, oh, he's just great. I don't think I've watched Hercules in about 3 years, but it's but from what I can remember from it, from when I last watched it, was how great Hades holds up as a villain, and like just kind of like this more. He's not even that evil. He's just like relatable and like frustrated. Like
Right. This is the thing about Hades, right? Is that you've said it perfectly. He's not actually that evil because of the James Woods performance.
Yeah.
Like, if we were ranking these based on hello, welcome back, AJ. If we were
Welcome
ranking,
back.
Hey, I didn't want to jump in there. Sorry, guys. Weirdest internet drop ever.
It's absolutely okay.
if we were ranking these based off of voice performances, like this would be top 3, maybe even higher.
Yeah.
Maybe this would be 1 because the delivery that James Woods gives in this movie.
I think I'd agree. It would probably be my number 1 if we were doing it purely on the voice acting. He's fantastic.
It's amazing. Anything you want to add on Hades, AJ?
So I'm very late to the party when it came to Hercules, sadly, but I have had great fun with it, you know. And I came in just at the point where I heard you guys saying he's a villain that it's hard to hate out of most of the Disney animation, and I have to agree with that. There's something, you know, you don't want to cheer for him, and obviously you want to see Hercules succeed, but there's just something very lovable about this character that you can't ignore. Essentially,
I absolutely agree with that. I feel like, yeah, on a day you kind of want to root for Hades. You know, if there was a second movie, whatever reason, you know, and it was all just about Hades, I'd root for him if they made him a protagonist in a movie. You know, just because he's that sort of character. So completely agree.
And the ongoing joke they have with the flame hair, so good.
Yes. Yeah.
So good. AJ, just to bring you up to speed on the way the list went, Seamus's bottom 3 were Isma from Emperor's New Groove, 9 was Scar, which we punted, and 8 was Maleficent, which was also a big punt.
Yes, indeed.
I haven't done your 10, so Seamus, just before, normally it would be over to your 6 now, but because AJ didn't get a chance to do his 10, AJ, come in. And
yes.
What was the number 10?
So mine is Dr. Facilier, aka the Dark Man from The Princess and the Frog. I was quite impressed with this cartoon. I've just watched it recently, this animated movie, and what a ride it was. And there's something about the character that really stuck out to me. As much as their story... Have you seen it, first of all, Nico?
Yeah.
I've seen it once, and it was a while ago, mate.
Yeah, so it first time seeing it, and I was quite impressed with the story. And the funny thing about this villain is he's not as present as you would take a villain in any other cartoon, because they go on their journey once he's badness, but he also has quite a dark side to him in a sense that as much as you see that he is the reason why they have turned into frogs and the journey begins, it's when they come back to try to reclaim and get back into human form, some of the dark side stuff that he does to challenge them, there's like quite a lovable character that he really goes to town on, which I don't want to get into spoiler territory. And I was like, I did not expect that. But the cartoon, the movie itself was just such a great journey. And I think the way he's inserted into it and the way he plays into characters' weaknesses in order to get what he wants from them, I was really impressed by what he had to deliver.
Okay, Seamus, so your number 6, please, mate.
So my number 6 is Ursula.
That is a teeny tiny punt from
I
us.
was expecting that to be a punt. Yeah. I can't believe Ursula's in 6, to be honest. I'm looking at my own list and I'm not even sure I'm agreeing with it anymore. I spent so long deliberating over it. I don't know if I agree with Ursula at 6 anymore.
Dude, this is what we go through every single week. We look at these damn lists and then we question ourselves mid-roll. It's always like that. But, AJ, why don't you take the next one? Our number 7.
Our number 7. Bear with me a second. So it was a punt from earlier. Yes, indeed. It's Simba's evil uncle. We are talking Scar. Yes, from The Lion King.
Okay. I thought Scar was going to be higher.
Do you know what?
Did we?
Honestly, it literally goes back to what you said. When you feel that you're doing an injustice. I looked at Scar. We looked at Scar, and we were like, well, has it only reached there? Scar. So when we done just a show just the other day, Lion King stands out as my all-time favorite animated Disney movie, and to feel that Scar then ends so it reaches so low in the ranking, it just doesn't feel right. But it just shows the quality of villains that are out there, that it pushes Scar back as far as he is. It's absolutely, yeah, it's a bit of a shocker. And you know, Scar's presence is the way, again, it's how he rises to the top. It's that you can see the jealous brother at first, but you don't expect the extent of which he will go to. Then
unless you've read Shakespeare.
Come again?
Unless you've read Shakespeare.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, you sit down, you're watching this movie, and you're taking it in for all that it is, and the love that you build for Mufasa, building up to it, and then to see Scar do what he does, breaks you so badly. Then the follow-up of Simba realizing that his dad is now gone, your heart is literally out of your chest at this point. And then comes this evil uncle once again and says, this is your fault, run away. And you're just like, no. And, and that wonderful opening scene that the Lion King has at the Simba's birth, and it's all the the Serengeti is as beautiful as it is, to what it looks like once, how it becomes all cloudy and barren now that it's under Scar's control. It really does show what an evil piece of work he is,
I have a reason for why Scar's lower on my list. And firstly, I want to put out that Be Prepared is one of the best villain songs in all of Disney. And it's fantastic. But what I would say, compared to a lot of other villains, I feel like he's not in about half the movie, because kind of when Simba kind of runs away and he has the whole story with Timon and Pumbaa, Scar's not really in the story for a bit. So while he is fantastic and up right at the top for the bits he's in, there are other villains that are in their whole movie and they're just like constantly. And so like, as harsh as it is, because Lion King's one of the best Disney movies, if not just one of the best movies ever made. But Scar's a fantastic villain, but I don't know. It just, I've got other villains I put higher, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, no, totally understand. It just shows the power of these villains and the films that are out there.
And I loved everything you said there. Like you made me want to put him higher again. But then I looked at my list and I was like, I can't.
Same here. It's exactly how it worked for us.
Scar was very hard to put that low. He was higher until AJ reminded me of something. Which, our number 6. I'm gonna see if you know this, Seamus. I'll be interested to see if this resonates with you. If I say, when the spooks have a midnight jamboree, they break it up with a fiendish glee. Ghosts are bad, but the one that's cursed. Do you know why I'm going with this?
I should. I'm lost though. No, I feel like I should know exactly what you're referencing.
It's the Headless Horseman. He's the worst.
Oh my God.
Let me break this down to you. AJ's heard me say this before. I want to hear your take on what I have to say. We referenced before the evil queen killing the protagonist, right? She comes back. Like, Snow White lives at the end. This is the only Disney movie where the hero flat out dies and does not come back. Ichabod Crane is murdered in this movie by a freaking demon. And they don't try and say, oh, like maybe he... No, he died. Like, the hero of the film dies. It's from a demon.
I'm going to be honest, this is the era of Disney movies that I'm like the least familiar with. But I don't think I've seen this in years, but like you'll have to sell me on this more.
Dude, it's such an easy watch because the movie is incredibly short. It's 25 minutes long. But what Disney successfully do in 25 minutes is create an affection to the main character, Ichabod Crane. Because, you know, who doesn't love to root for the underdog? We're talking about this gangly, weird, scarecrow-looking guy who's going to, you know, get the girl against this, you know, the jock type. It's a story we can all relate to. We all want to be that guy, right? When the odds are against us. But while they're doing this little fun story about the guy trying to get the girl, very successfully in the background, they're creating this sense of foreboding, this sense of isolation that is the town of Sleepy Hollow. Until it all comes to a head on Halloween night, where Ichabod's dancing with the girl, all is happy, and then Jock Boy, Bron Bones, decides, while they're all talking about, you know, their favorite ghost stories on Halloween, he recounts a tale that's more than a tale. He recounts the story of the Headless Horseman and a first-hand encounter that he had with the demon a year ago to the very night, knowing that Ichabod Crane has to go back through the haunted, we think it's quotation marks at the time, going back through the haunted forest in order to reach home. So the whole town thinks, you know, he's a superstitious guy. Bron's just messing with him. Until you realize it's all real. And this freaking demon apparition appears, chases down Ichabod Crane, and kills him. It's like, what is this?
I mean, a Disney villain successfully killing the protagonist is like, I think if this was on my mind, I might have included him on my list as well. But I unfortunately, when I did my because I watched all the Disney movies earlier this year for my big Disney video that I made, where I connected them all in the same universe. But I didn't even include this in the this movie wasn't even like in the pool of Disney movies I was including. I think it must be a World War II movie. So I haven't watched it as recently. So I'm not as familiar, but
I can connect them for you. I am convinced that Sleepy Hollow's haunted forest is the exact same forest that freaks out Snow White when she goes when she runs away at the beginning of her adventure.
And it probably is almost definitely the same animation used, given the reuse of animation throughout time.
Fun fact: the character model for Ichabod Crane was also the character they used for Roger in 101 Dalmatians. They just put blonde hair on him. Exactly the same character model.
Oh, crazy. Well, there's two connections right there. Yep. Wow. Yeah. Well, that character didn't spring to mind. It wasn't even close to the forefront of my mind, but I wish. Definitely a good shout.
Check it out, dude. 25 minutes of your time really well spent on this.
Watch it tonight.
Listen, it scarred me as a child, and because of that, it still scares me to this day, to be honest. It is spooky, so just, you know, tread with caution. But that was our number 6, Seamus. Your number 5, please.
Number 5. Okay. I regret this one now because I feel like Ursula's a better villain than him, but I've put Gaston at number 5.
Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Seamus, putting Gaston so low. That's a punt.
Okay.
AJ, why don't you take this one? Our number 5, which was the small punt. You're good.
Right. So in at number 5 was the small punt from earlier, and it is Ursula. Yeah. There is something about Ursula, and it's funny because I listen back and I've always enjoyed The Little Mermaid, but it's the way Nico has broken down that he's not Ariel's biggest fan, and I can understand why. You know, the person she's given up everything that she has for small reasons, but Ursula has known exactly how to manipulate that, and I find that looking at the animation version versus the live action that they've just done, Ursula is a lot darker in the animation as well, which you have to respect. You know, the fact that she even goes into the fact of morphing into become a clone of Ariel to then manipulate Prince Eric. Like, she really goes to all levels to succeed in her quest to win, and that's what really makes her stick out to me. A very devious character with a big plot and has all the different angles in order to succeed in her quest.
Yeah, in case you're wondering what I was talking about, Seamus, Ariel is an idiot because, look, her father has a big trident. she sees a fork and goes, "What's this?" It's like, it's a small version of Opera. Why is this so impressive for you?
That's really funny. I that's probably one of the things I would have looked at when I was going like over analyzing these movies and absolutely rip into. It's really funny. Because yeah, her father definitely could have, but also I guess the point is that he's too protective of her and that she needs to kind of go out and find her own way of getting there. Now I haven't seen the live action one personally,
You're right.
so I'm fully basing this off the animated one. I'm not the biggest fan of the live action movies, just as a periodic statement. So I think I don't see why animated movies need to be made in live action, because animation as an art form is fantastic. But Ursula, just like there's also like so much like history behind Ursula's character. Like she's based off like a famous drag queen, I believe. I may be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure that's true. And is like she's just a proper intimidating character. Like she's scary, you know. There's like even like the tentacles and stuff, and the way she kind of like bellows, like. And Little Mermaid's also probably my favorite Disney Renaissance movie. So I think like and Ursula is such a great villain for it. Obviously she has a whole plan. She becomes Eric's wife. I want to say Vanessa is her name, but okay, I was right. And it's a good scheme. It's a good plan. She manipulates Ariel, almost gets her way, but as typically happens, gets found out just before everything perfectly goes to plan.
Yeah, no headless horseman in this one.
No headless horseman.
So that was our 5. Seamus, I'll leave you on. Over to your 4.
Number 4. Okay. I have gone for Mother Gothel at number 4.
Oh, from Tangled. This is all you, my friend.
I assume this hasn't got onto your lists.
No,
because it hasn't been punted. I think I definitely included a modern one there, which I want to start by saying that the villains in the modern movies, as in pretty much post 2000, they aren't that great. Most of them are twist villains. Almost all of them are twist villains from like a certain period, like I want to say like 2012 to 2019 or something, if they have a villain at all. But Mother Gothel, in my opinion, is the best one. I find her to be great. I'm a really big fan of like Tangled the movie firstly, and also I'm a fan of the like Tangled TV series, which she's also in, and they delve into her backstory and stuff. So if we're going deep into like the lore of the series, I think she's great. And I think just generally in all tales of Rapunzel, I find Mother Gothel to just be such a great character. And she also has a great, like, she's again like another campy villain with like her cool like musical numbers, and she's like mother knows best to Rapunzel, and like once again similarly to Ursula, but like from a complete opposite perspective, manipulating her daughter to want to stay rather than letting her explore, but like is as if the dad's the villain in this case, but she's also just pure evil, as the movie reveals. And yeah, I'm a big. Do you guys have any thoughts on Mother Gothel?
Do you know what, mate? I've actually only seen Tangled the once, and it was quite a while ago. I wouldn't be able to comment further on it, but tell you what you have done is you've actually made me want to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, I think Disney have as many hits as misses in the last, I would say, 15 years with their movies, but I think that's definitely one of the hits, Tangled. And Mother Gothel is what, well, I think in all tellings of Rapunzel, Mother Gothel is what like carries the story. And
yes, most definitely. Like in the Brothers Grimm story of Rapunzel, I mean, she is genuinely horrible. Like,
yes, yeah,
the whole pushing out the window into the bed of thorns, making him blind, like it's so much darker.
Yeah, and she's like genuinely like because the movie's kind of like them like trying to get away from her and stuff, but also she still manipulates Rapunzel, and like it's very conflicting and everything. And yeah, I really I'm a big fan of Tangled and just Mother Gothel in general. And I had another thought and I've forgotten what it is now, but Yeah, oh, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like with these lists as well, it's very easy just to go full Disney Renaissance, because I feel like that's where they have their formula of just menacing villain and like main character. Like I don't want to say who might come up, but I'm assuming there's going to be villains from a lot of these Renaissance movies in the top three, and we've also mostly gone through Renaissance movies so far. So it's going to be very hard for anything they've done in recent years to even get close to living up to it. And Mother Gothel is very much in the style of a Renaissance villain, I would say, but is very well done. Definitely their best in that way.
Yeah, I must admit. I was going to say, similar to yourself, Nico, it's been a very long time. It's a one-time viewing, but I remember having great fun with the film. And that's the part I remember. And I just can't remember Mother Gothel enough to have made her a candidate for the film. But hearing everything that you said has given me the buzz to want to see the film again, because I do remember having awesome fun with that film.
Yeah. Tangled's definitely like the fan favorite, in my opinion, of this like computer animated Disney princess movies. I would say maybe in Moana, I like, maybe Encanto now as well. But
haven't seen Encanto yet. Worth a watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd definitely say so. The soundtrack's incredible, and I mean the soundtrack done incredibly as well for the movie. But like Encanto and Moana don't have villains really in the movies. It's more just
this
like
is the thing. Moana,
trauma.
Maui's basically the villain in Moana, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think the argument is it's generational trauma's the villain. Like it's this kind of, because it's still something that's in all those Disney movies, but it's kind of like the fact that a parent doesn't want you to do something and therefore you're going out and doing it. It doesn't actually need an antagonist like Ursula from Little Mermaid, like pulling the strings. And I think it's either that they in the recent years they've either done that or a twist villain. And Mother Gothel's the only kind of classic, just there's a villain right here in your face. You know she's the villain. She's introduced at the start as the villain. And I think it's really well done.
Love it. AJ, do you want to take number 4?
I can do indeed, sir. Thank you very much. This one, Nico reminded me to have a look, and it is Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now, this gentleman is dark. This
it's another one I wanted to include.
I do you know Hunchback of Notre Dame is a film that I've not seen in a very long time. I saw it in the cinema. That's to tell you how long ago it was, and I've never revisited the film.
Wow,
that's how long. So we're talking 95. Am I
96?
Right, 96. There we go. And I've not seen the film again, and just watching it, the darkness behind Frollo is so bad, and it's the conflict that he's going through within himself. It's as much as he wants to be this very much law and religion abiding gentleman, he has this demon of attraction to Esmeralda at the same time, and what he will do is either she becomes his or she becomes nobody's. And in that quest to find her, burning down every village of innocent people, just for not giving him the answers that he wants, getting rid of the captain, and then the way he treats Quasimodo as well, looking at someone who's got his best intentions at heart, and it's absolutely anything but that. It was just so many levels of bad and evil within this one character. I found it very complex. If it wasn't for the love I have for my number one, that's like a nostalgia trip out as well, this may have even been higher for me. This character really struck out to me as someone who believes that he has nothing but good intentions, but every intention is exactly opposite to that.
And that's what makes it more evil, isn't it?
Yeah.
the like not realizing what they're doing is evil. I think it's similar to Mother Gothel in a way, in the sense of that it's kind of this, because he's the one looking after Quasimodo. Like he's the one that's like stuck with him, I guess. And just it's just pure evil. I'm trying to remember now as well, because I've seen the sequel to Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. I'm trying to remember if he's in it or not, but I'm not sure he is.
I would hope not. He should be dead.
He's dead. I thought he was. Okay, I've misremembered this entirely then. But well, there we go.
No, he falls off. He falls off Notre Dame at the end of the movie. But what I love about Frollo is that he's evil on so many levels. all masquerading in this pious manner of, oh, I am holier than thou because I'm a man of God. You know, even that song he sings, Hellfire, he's still being like, no, I'm better than the common man. It's the gypsy's fault that I'm feeling sin. Is that, nah, dude, you're just an evil man. It's as simple as that. The fact that he burns Paris to the ground in a rage of lust. The fact that he likes burning. The fact that he threatens to burn Esmeralda if she doesn't choose him, choose me or the fire. The fact that he's manipulated Quasimodo into believing that he's somehow this, this penitent father figure. The fact that the opening scene, he's basically purging Paris of Roman gypsies. Like, he is an evil man.
If we're going pure evil, like just wrongdoings and immoral characters, it's hard to argue anyone else. But like, yeah, that's crazy. The evil.
Let's leave you on screen, Seamus, and let's go with your number 3.
Okay, I know this isn't getting on your lists, and I know this is a really rogue shout, but I could argue this one to the cows come home. I'm going King Candy or Turbo from Wreck-It Ralph.
I love it. Love it.
Okay,
Tell me why. Tell me why.
I think this is one of the best written villains in this is not maybe necessarily how the character is. Like, this isn't like it is kind of an evil character, but like not in the sense of he's not burning Paris to the ground. He just wants to rule he wants to rule an arcade, as in he wants to be top of the food chain in an arcade game. Like, it's not like the most evil thing ever, but it's like but the way this movie's made is that so the story sets up this kind of premise of going turbo is what happens when a character leaves their game and goes into another arcade game, which is kind of like against the moral code. Have you guys seen Wreck-It Ralph, by the way?
Of course.
1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, going turbo is brought up right at the start in like the first 5 minutes of the movie, I want to say, about someone that's going from game to game. They don't really explain what that is, but it's brought up like it's in your mind. They bring up the premise, and they bring it up again a couple times over the course of the movie. And then about halfway through, Felix and Sergeant Calhoun, he says the term, I didn't think he'd go turbo, but Sergeant Calhoun, whose game's just been plugged in, doesn't know what this means. So he gets the chance to explain what this is. So we get a bit of exposition, and he explains going turbo means that there was this racing game called Turbo, where Turbo is the main character, and then another racing game gets plugged in, and Turbo replaces the main character in the other game and gets both the games unplugged. And you think at that stage, that's it, that Turbo, that was just a little bit of backstory. But it turns out the entire time, the main villain in the movie, King Candy, was actually Turbo in disguise in Sugar Rush, the new big racing game. And he's like messed with all the code, changed himself and made himself changed everyone else's memories in the code so that they think he is the main villain, the leader of Sugar Rush, and like implemented himself in. And it's so well set up in the story, and it's like a twist, like it's an actual really good twist villain. And I absolutely love it. I would have put it number 1, I feel like, if it wasn't such a wildly flaming hot take.
You love it? I could never have told, mate. That was awesome. I love that. AJ, if you're happy, can I take number 3?
Oh, no. No one would have more. I wouldn't have any right to talk about number 3. It's all you. It's all you.
Yes, my favorite Disney villain ever. But it's our joint number 3 because of combined lists and math. Yeah, it was the punt from earlier. Seamus, my number 3, as I said, gosh, it disturbs me because number 3 is Gaston. This guy. Let me put this to you, Seamus. Gaston is not a villain. Gaston does not start this movie as a villain. Break it down. What's the worst thing he does prior to the end of the film? He wants to have the girl. What a crime he's committed. Now, is he a bit pushy? Yes. Is he a bit full of himself? I mean, a bit would be an improvement. Is he the town jock? Of course. And I'm speaking exclusively about the animation because the stuff they do in the live action thing is a complete betrayal of the character. But in the animation, he basically doesn't do anything bad until the end of the film, where he decides to put Maurice into an asylum. And even then, it's all manipulation. It's not real follow through. He bribes the guy off to say, act it up. And then she'll agree to marry me. It's only when Belle shows him the beast and he realizes you love someone else. That's when he goes beast mode. So it actually takes him having his heart broken, effectively. And yes, there's the egotistical thing of he didn't get what he wants, which is a huge part of it too, no doubt. But up until that point, Gaston doesn't do anything bad. He sings a song, 2 songs, in fact. He does some jumping on roofs and he shoots and drinks beer. This is not a villain. But when he gets his heart broken, and check out the animation too, you who loves an Easter egg and who loves detail, that song at the end, just before he goes to us, come and follow me, when the villagers start talking to each other, going, it's a beast in the castle, he's coming to get us. Look at this is very intentional what Disney did. Look at the animation they do with Gaston. He's listening in on them. He's listening to see if he can manipulate them further. He's twisting the knife to make sure that he gets the villagers on his side. You can see him physically going evil before our very eyes. This guy wasn't bad. And for that reason, he's my favorite, because as you said with Mother Gothel, you can see in front of you, here's a villain. Gaston is drawn like a villain for sure. But when you break him down, this is the villain with the biggest character arc that Disney have ever done. He doesn't start bad. He's not a likable guy, but I wouldn't call him, he's not a Frollo.
Yes. I was going to say, I think maybe the dislike from him, maybe in the movie, I'm trying to remember it as best as I can. In the movie, like, maybe he doesn't actually do anything wrong, but it feels like it's implied that kind of like before the movie, he was always just like forcing himself onto Belle, despite her constant, but it's more like an implication of like, oh, this guy won't leave me alone. Like, but I love the idea of just like this, like, if you actually watch it at face value, you actually see him just snap. And and I love the intentional animation, because I fully believe with Beauty and the Beast, as 2D animated movies go, that is in terms of like just pure raw animation, that movie, I don't think they made a better 2D animated movie than that, maybe ever. Like, because and that was in 1991. And there might be like stuff that uses 2D elements now that's like better, but it's just like the actual animation in that is fantastic.
Never better. They were doing, so it's the Japanese studios like your Ghibli's, which are famous, which are really famous for, having that acute attention to detail with character models and character movements and facial expressions. You've very rarely seen that in Western animation. Yeah. So the point you make, and to the point I was raising, which is the fact that they laboriously took time to actually draw his facial expressions to imply he's manipulating and you're seeing him break in front of your very eyes, never been done before. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, incredible. And yeah, I guess because I obviously did put him 5th in mind, but I in the end, in recording, said I would have switched him with Ursula. I think maybe the only reason I switched him with Ursula is just because, like, I just think she's a bit more scary. But the way you've sold that maybe makes me want to switch them back. So maybe I'm going to stand by my take from this afternoon.
Love that, my guy. Let's leave you on screen then and go with your number 2.
Okay, number 2. I feel like this might be your number 2 as well, because it hasn't come up yet. Or maybe number 1. I'm going for Jafar.
Seamus, my friend, that's a punt.
Okay.
AJ, do you want to do this one, or shall I?
I'll give it a whiz. In at number 2 is Maleficent. Now, this is a journey for me because, as I've confessed on a previous pod recently, Disney animated movies, the classic ones, took me actually a while to actually watch them. I had the books, and I just was associated the stories with the books I read as opposed to watching them. So I've not as deep as you are, Seamus, but I started my journey, and I'm following the Disney princesses on their way. So I started with Snow White, and then I went into Cinderella, and then I came across Sleeping Beauty. And I realized along this one was how much darker it got. I looked at the other stories, and I was like, oh, the princes are there, they're good guys, there's not much to it. And I remember Nico saying to me, Philip goes to war. Philip stands up as a Disney princess. I don't know, I don't like the idea of this young boy looking at a baby, and that's his betrothed wife. It felt a bit wrong, and I was like, okay, but I'll step aside, I'll watch this. And it's even at the birth, when you have the fairy godmothers all there putting their wishes towards it, and Maleficent's presence just comes in, and it was a case of the offense of not being invited. And then, it seems like it's a casual mistake, and it's, well, no, we didn't want you, you weren't invited, there was no mistake, you were not invited, that is intentional. And then it's a curse that's bestowed straight away from it. And it's from there, it just doesn't stop. She just ups the ante entirely. And it's the way she uses everything around her in order to make evil appear. Just going back to Philip in the castle, the stone is turned into villain. It's just, it shows, it's the stuff you picture for a Disney villain. Like, I think everything that you picture from a Disney villain came with Maleficent first, and that's why she stuck out to me quite a bit. I think everyone else inherited from Maleficent in terms of what evil was later on.
I think, yeah, I would entirely agree with you there, because of how, like, this is such an early Disney movie. Like, almost every Disney villain, like, has had to live up to Maleficent at some point, and it's a very, very high bar. I think the thing that frustrates me with Maleficent, and maybe why I put her so low, is because, and this is more just a critique of Sleeping Beauty in general, is the fact that I just find it really frustrating. It's really dumb, but the whole she like imprisoned Sleeping Beauty. She needed to find. She had 16 years to find. What's her name? Aurora. I was going to say Ariel, but that wasn't right. But I knew it began with an A. But then, so yeah, she has to find 16 years to find Aurora, and like, I've forgotten what she needs to do. Get her to prick her finger on a spinning wheel. That's the one, right? And she's 16 years to do it, and then on the day before her 16th birthday is the day she just happens to stumble upon Aurora just wandering around the woods, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's obviously just a little fairy tale.
Let me give you a little memory jog there. So it's not haphazardly. What happens is Maleficent has a bit of a meltdown, because she actually addresses the exact point you're making. There's a scene with her having a freak out going, it's been 16 years and I can't find her. She starts killing all of her minions, and she's like, you all suck. You're all useless. And she turns to her crow and goes, please help. Help me fix this. The only reason the crow finds her isn't because she's walking around in the woods. It's because of the bloody good fairies. They're fighting.
Yes,
remember,
and they like bake a cake or something, right? Yeah.
They're baking the cake, and they're useless bakers.
Isn't it the dress that
they're doing the dress, and they're switching it between pink and blue? They're baking the cake. They can't do any of this because they're not muggles, basically. They can't do these.
They had one day to just say, let's just stay inside today. We can celebrate your birthday tomorrow.
I know. Plot armor.
The whole movie would have been resolved. But Maleficent is obviously fantastic as a villain. And I mean, she's such a great villain. She has like, what, 2 movies about Maleficent, just purely about Maleficent.
And I'll not only raise you she being a great villain, but because she's such a great villain, in my humble opinion, Philip is the best prince. Disagree? Name me one other prince who kills a dragon.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I know. Maleficent's definitely a great shout for number 2, and I can't believe she was down at 8 in my list, to be honest. But
this is the thing about a Rushmore, dude. The list will kill you.
But I'm pretty sure my number 1 isn't even in your list, because it hasn't come up yet.
She came to mind. She came to mind. Go on. What's your number one?
Can I give an honorable mention before we do number one? Just
Please.
purely
Always.
on the basis of, we haven't spoken about it yet, and this is purely based on the Disney sequel of this. But Lady Tremaine, the stepmother in Cinderella, she's fine. But in Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time, fantastic
three?
villain. There's 3 of them. Yeah, there's 3 of them. The second one you can skip. It's not, it's just like, it's like 3 short films kind of squished into one, and the third one, you don't require the knowledge of the second one to watch the third one. But
Okay.
Cinderella 3 is like my go-to, like, pitch a movie to someone that they're never going to expect to like, and they'll probably enjoy it. It's that it's a time travel movie revolving around Cinderella. Yeah, that would be the reaction I'd be expecting. And the prince actually is a character in it, rather than just like some like stick that doesn't do anything until he needs to like kiss the princess at the end. He's actually he's actually a protagonist, and does stuff like jumps out a window at one point or something, which isn't quite killing a dragon, but you know. I wanted to include her, but again, this list was hard to make. But for my number one, I have gone for, similarly to Maleficent has her own movie about her, Cruella.
Yeah, Cruella de Vil, aka Cruella Devil. Listen, man, puppy murdering. I get it.
Yeah, it's even just like her song gives me the creeps. It's like I've forgotten how it goes now.
Cruella de Vil.
That's the one.
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm also kind of, I feel like this is because a load of my like Disney knowledge has come from back in 2020. I watched all the Disney sequels, so like all my knowledge of these movies of recent years, at least, has come off this. And in 101 Dalmatians 2, the animated one, Cruella isn't in the movie, and it's just, the movie needs Cruella in it so much to work. And Cruella is just, or have I got this wrong? Maybe it's 102 Dalmatians that doesn't have Cruella in it. There's a 101 Dalmatians movie that doesn't have her in it, and as soon as I watched it, it made me appreciate Cruella as a villain so much more. But on a more level-headed basis, Cruella as a character, she wants to kill 101 puppies, and she already has about like 80 of them at the start of the movie, and she's to make a fur coat. She's just like, her name is, it has devil in her name. Like, yeah. She's like the epitome of what I feel like Disney want children to think evil is. And
yeah, well, not only that, I mean, if you know, we both share a disdain for the live action remakes, but if there was ever a remake which completely betrayed the character, it's like, you tried to make Cruella, you tried sympathetic, she kills puppies.
Like, the one thing I said after the movie was, she didn't kill any dogs. Like, yeah. Isn't that the whole, like, I've never come out of a movie and thought more dogs should have died for my enjoyment. But the movie Cruella, like, the whole point of the character, if this is an origin story for the character, which it is, we should see her kill dogs, but like in this movie, like, because like this was meant to be like the 101 Dalmatians was meant to be a big thing where she finally got the like her big coat with Dalmatian puppy fur, but you assume she's killed other dogs and other animals before to make fur of some kind. And yeah, I mean, she's always wearing furs, but yeah, just evil.
And somehow in the remake, what is it they did? They tried to make me believe that Cruella gave Roger Pongo the puppy. And I'm like, hang on. So
she gave them both away, I believe. Yeah. I believe she gave them both. Yeah.
Talk about
so both. That's essentially the story of how the couple met, is because she gave the dogs away, and then it then leads, and you're like, so this universe building that you're trying to do.
She only needed 99 left if she hadn't given those 2 away.
Yeah, and she was doing puppies as well. I feel like those would have had so much more fur.
So much.
So like she might have not needed 101 Dalmatians. That's how evil she is. She wants to kill 101 puppies rather than like 25 regular sized dogs.
Good point. Never thought of it that way.
I've never thought of it that way either.
Okay, this is getting really dark, but you've definitely given me a viral moment. Seamus Gorman says more dogs must die. Oh man, AJ, you did Maleficent, so I'm gonna go big screen for this one. But of course, you are welcome to join because he was higher for you. Well, was he? This was your number one, wasn't it?
Yeah. But
you know what? Nah, bugger that. I'm in a giving mood. It's your number one. You
go. Thank you. So my number one is your number two, Seamus. It had to be Jafar. It's Jafar again. This is another cinema moment that I recall. You can tell that his presence just spells evil. You know, as much as you go back to Gaston being your all-time villain, Nico. Like he is the jock, and it goes back to what you said. He hasn't actually done wrong apart from chase the girl. And there's a part of us because the initial instinct of the beast is he's quite evil. It's like, is Gaston going to step up to the plate? Is he going to be the good guy? Obviously, it's not. You know the way the story goes. And it wouldn't be called Beauty and the Beast if Gaston was the hero. But with Jafar, you can just feel it. You can see that he's an advisor, but you can just tell that he's not to be trusted. And then, you know, his scepter is a snake, and you could just tell. And it just takes him turning one corner, and there he is talking to Iago, and it's just everything with ill intent. It's just you can tell what he wants to do. And again, it's evil with power, but he wants more. He's not happy just being the council. He needs to be at the very top. He needs to be that villain. And it's that craving for power, that hunger for power that then leads him to level up even more. You know, okay, spoiler to anyone who's not seen the end of the film, but he becomes a genie himself, and it's like he can take it from a human level, then it becomes a mystical art. As much as he had mystical powers as just an individual, it's elevated by the time he becomes this genie. And that love that you have for the actual genie, God bless Robin Williams for the magic he created as the genie as well. It's now you know everything that Jafar has as a power, but now you're seeing it on a genie level, and it feels like it's the anti-genie, and you don't expect to see that come along. And that's what really shocked me with him. It's just there isn't any extent that there is no end to Jafar's evil and what he's willing to do. That he in that quest for power, and that's what really was the takeaway.
Yeah, I mean he is full evil, isn't he? Because I mean, what is that line he says at the end when he's become a genie? Is that the universe is mine to command, to control? I mean. Yeah, we've elevated the game from dragons and puppy murdering and burning Paris. This guy's no, I'm going to burn it all.
He's like, in terms of ambition, he's got the most ambition of all the villains. He just wants to destroy the world, essentially. And I just remember he was the one as a kid that would have scared me the most. Like he was a scary character, because you want to root for Aladdin, and then he's like Jasmine's he's trying to steal her away, and even just from that basis, not even like the mystical stuff of the evil he does, just like this kind of no, he's stealing the protagonist's skull, you can't do this. Just he's just evil even on a human level, and then further evil, just pure hunger for power, I guess. It's crazy.
Yeah, power, lust. I mean, that scene where he's getting Jasmine to feed him at the end, and it's like, oh, you nasty, nasty human being. And as you said, he is scary. That scene where Aladdin says to him, what is it? Are you afraid to fight me yourself, you cowardly snake? And he goes, a snake, am I? And then he transforms into a giant cobra. It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. What is this? By the way, where was that in the live action remake?
I can't even remember it. I can't imagine. Will Smith as a snake would have been quite something at the time. But no, I can't remember the live action Aladdin well enough at all, to be honest with you. But
dude,
yeah,
it was fine. But again, that's something
you very well at the box office. Yeah,
$1 billion club, baby. Yeah. A lot of Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, $1 billion club. Yeah. They did numbers.
Yeah,
But again,
that's why they keep making them.
Yeah, that's it. But that's just testament as to how good those two animated movies are. Because that's nostalgia selling. It's not quality. They're literally selling nostalgia to you there.
$1 billion of nostalgia, billions with all of them they've made. Like, that's crazy. So, and that's a testament to how good the movie is and how like great. And I think like because that was when they cast Will Smith. I remember there was like a lot of controversy just around like Will Smith can't play the genie sort of like attitude towards it. But I mean it's replacing Robin Williams as well. It's just like an almost impossible task. Not almost, it isn't. Like we were talking earlier about the like best performances. I think that probably is the number one animated character performance maybe ever. Robin Williams is the genie. And
it's damn hard to argue that. I'm genuinely trying to rack my brain now. Like, great animated performance. James L. Jones is Mufasa, maybe, but I mean,
but then Mufasa's not in the film long enough. I mean, but obviously Mufasa's in it, you know, and he creates an impact. But Genie's in it from beginning to end throughout. You know?
I know. I think you're right. I don't think there's ever been a better animated performance than.
I've just also realized they've detoured off entirely because when you spoke about him turning into a genie, I thought of the genie, and that's why I was thinking of Will Smith as the genie. It's not really got anything to do with Jafar because I was thinking of him as a genie. He turns into like the big red genie. I've got confused there. Sorry if that's created any confusion for anyone listening, but that's on me there. I've just got too invested in it all. But the red genie, even generally as a red genie, is scary as well. Like that's just like the most basic level. But it's like blue is good, red is evil sort of thing. And red genie's scary, you know.
But I'd actually go as far as to say with that red genie that they did such a good job on it that it was actually nice to see it back for Aladdin 2: The Return of Jafar. Like that is an okay Disney sequel as the Disney animated sequels go. That one is pretty good.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. And he's also. It's a shame he gets thwarted in that movie, because of the little cop out of if you destroy the lamp, the genie gets destroyed, sort of thing, and they burn it in lava. But Iago specifically sabotages him. Jafar just it doesn't get better than Jafar, does it?
Here's a question for you. Better Aladdin sequel, Return of Jafar or King of Thieves?
You see, I've actually said before on record, I think Return of Jafar is better, but that's a really bold take considering Robin Williams comes back for King of Thieves.
Yes.
And I actually think they're both, as Disney sequels go, they're both up there as the better ones. But I find the story in Return of Jafar more interesting.
It is because you're invested in that character, and you know they introduced that new side villain, Abysmal, which is it's great. But those are our top 10 lists. Now we have the difficulty of doing a Rushmore. This is gonna suck in every sense of the word. So
AJ, how do you usually go about this, making the Rushmore?
So the way we'll usually go about it, if it was a live show, AJ and I would do our 3 picks, and then we'd leave the 4th pick to the live audience to choose. Okay. If we're doing just a recording, we don't obviously always have as much overlap as we've had today. So the automatic contenders that go in are the movies that got punted. The problem today is that there were 6 commonalities between us. So we can go down the route. So we can go down the route of pick those 6 and choose 4 between them, or we can make the waters even muddier. What do you gents want to do?
I think we got to go for the 4. We got to go for the 6. Let's go for the 6. Yeah.
And the 6.
Pick
a reminder: our 6 commonalities. Our 6 commonalities were. We had Scar was a commonality, Maleficent was a commonality, Hades was a commonality, so was Ursula, so was Gaston, and so is Jafar.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to wave the flag, but Jafar was 1 and 2. That is pretty high.
I think Jafar's gonna be a shoo-in basically for the number 1 spot.
I think Matt says that one has to put him in, right?
Especially if my number 1's gone off this punting rule. So Jafar's essentially number 1 on both of our lists as far as this goes.
Would
So-
anyone object to having Gaston in there?
I wouldn't know. I think he
No.
should be in there.
Right. Now we need to fill 2 slots from 4 choices. Once again, the choices are Scar, Maleficent, Hades, and Ursula. Gentlemen, discuss.
I think Ursula is my non-negotiable from these.
Interesting.
Personally.
I like that.
And well, it's negotiable, obviously. I'm not going to force you guys to put it in the list, but like if I was to do it, if I was to do it myself, I couldn't really see myself not putting Ursula out of those 4.
I mean,
So
look,
here's the thing.
love for the Little Mermaid is a real thing, man. It would be
Here's the
hard.
thing. I'm not overly opposed to Ursula, and it makes a lot of sense. What hurts me is I feel like I'm going to eliminate Scar once again, and I don't want to because I feel like
I have a
Maleficent
feeling that.
needs that spot, and I can't believe it because again,
leaning
my
to it as well.
top three Disney movies are Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. So I was like, "Ooh, the trifecta is about to make it," and sadly, I don't think it is because
I don't
Scar-
think Scar's getting in. Scar's
he's not.
9 on my list. He's the bottom of those villains from my list. So, and I think
And
I
he's
have a feeling it
like-
wasn't that much higher on yours.
He was 7 on ours. I don't think
Yeah.
he's getting in there.
No.
You know,
wasn't
Matt
there, yeah.
would say Ursula was your sorry, not Ursula. Maleficent was your 8 and R2. So I mean, math would put her in, but
Yeah.
there's every
It's the
time we
Ursula. Yeah.
bring up
Hades
Hercules.
as well.
This is what
Hades
I'm
are
saying.
really
Every
tough.
time we bring up Hercules, Hades always gets looked over.
Yeah.
There's part of me
yeah,
that
Hades
really
is
wants
great.
Hades on there. God, over
I'm glad
Maleficent.
we've stuck it down to 6 because I wouldn't have wanted to be arguing Cruella and King Candy in this mix as well. It would have been too much.
So do we
Yeah.
all agree at least that Scar's not getting on?
I
yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Okay. So if the aliens were to land tomorrow on Earth and say, tell me about the 4 Disney villains I should familiarize myself with. Maleficent over Hades or Hades over Maleficent?
Well,
I
Maleficent
think
has
you
2
have
other
to go for
movies.
Maleficent.
You do, don't you? And it hurts me so much.
Yeah, it is because she's the classic, and I think that has some carry power, and of course, multiple movies with Maleficent in. Like, I think it's gonna have to be
God
Maleficent.
damn it. AJ, it's a lock-in. Let's
Yeah.
do the thing.
Okay, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official movie Mount Rushmore with Seamus Gorman of Disney animated villains in no particular order is... I'm going to need bongos at one stage, seriously.
Maleficent.
Our second entry is...
Gaston.
Our third entry is...
Jafar.
Our final entry into the movie Mount Rushmore of Disney animated villains, the non-negotiable pick from Seamus Gorman is...
You stole my line. I was going to say it. The non-negotiable Ursula.
That was
wonderful.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That was great. Guys, as always, a reminder, this is available, of course, on our YouTube channel where you're watching now. There will be extracts going out on our TikTok and our Instagram, so just find us there at the Silver Screen Dudes. The podcast, as it's a podcast show, will be available on all podcast platforms and Spotify. Link to all that will be down in the description below. Seamus, plug away, my friend. Now is the time to tell people what you're up to and where they can find you.
So I have a YouTube channel called Seamus Gorman, which I am mostly doing big, long videos on at this stage of my life. So I haven't uploaded in about a month, but or depending on when this video or this podcast goes out, I may have uploaded really recently. I don't know when it's coming out, but there should be something coming soon, hopefully. So if you want to check that out, thank you very much. I do talk all about Disney a lot and Pixar and just TV shows and movies in general.
And again, dude, thank you so much for coming on and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll need to get you back on for Pixar. I think that's
It'd be good fun.
I
Yeah, it'll be very good
genuinely am
fun.
curious to see what your top 10 are, given what you said about Toy Story 4 before. Like, I'm dying to hear what your top 10 are. But
It
we're going to
changes
wrap
all the time as well, so I don't even know what I picked today will be different tomorrow. My Toy Story picks change from day to day as well, so
That gives me hope. I'm joking. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, as always, for giving us your time. Thank you for helping us to continue growing. The numbers are going up each week, which we cannot thank you enough for. Thanks so much again to Seamus for joining us. But until next time, it is goodbye from me.
And for me.
and from me.
And we'll see you
See
next
you
week
guys.
right here on Movie Mount Rushmore. Bye, guys.